All right, welcome back to Two Song Podcast. This is Chris.
And this is Cam.
And this is a show where we try to sort every song ever into one or two categories. Either a love song.
Or a fight song.
Yep, exactly right. And that little bit of intro that you just heard, this episode song is Why Try by the band Tank the Bangas. And that is off of their album Red Balloon that came out, the time we're recording this, just a little bit ago on May 13th.
Yeah, Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and we picked them partly because I've been listening to them a lot since I found out that they're the headliner for our local summer music festival, Bragg Jam, which is my favorite event that we do here in our hometown, Macon. And I discovered Taking the Bangas from their Tiny Desk, which is very good.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't seen it, that's a great introduction to them. I guess, well, this might be your introduction.
Yeah.
And then go check that out.
Yeah.
And then, this album's a little over a month old, and Bragg Jam is about a month away. So
it's perfect.
I'm doing my research and I've been really enjoying them.
Yeah, and plenty of time. Sometimes you'll go to a festival and be like, I did not have time to listen to everybody. And guess what? I only listened to the bands that I already liked that I'm here to see anyway. I shouldn't have done that. That's what I do.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I always like at music festivals to discover new bands too. I always find at least a couple at Bragg Jam and try to at every festival that I go to.
Cool. That's a good rule. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, what about this intro? I mean, it's like Questlove doing Carol Baskins or something. That was supposed to be. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. I
mean, I don't think he stole her catchphrase exactly. I think he's smart enough not to do that word for word. He left out a part, I'm pretty sure. But this is very reminiscent of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And is this, I'm not sure, this might be Questlove's only contribution for this album. And he's a talented musician.
Yeah. Kind of like the way that Jim Carrey is on the latest Weekend album.
Yeah.
He plays this radio DJ shaman kind of character. It's awesome. But he's only, actually comes up a couple times, but he, it's not like he sings or really wrote the music. Excuse me, he just does that part, which is cool.
Interesting. Yeah, what it does, I don't know, it gives it kind of a kitschy, is that a word?
Yeah.
I don't know, this might be the first time I've ever used that word correctly.
Oh, wow. I think a little bit, why would anyone channel Carol Baskins? Yeah. And it also is playing into, if you're streaming music or you're on your phone or on YouTube, you don't get that radio experience. You're like, don't you miss a corny DJ from the radio? Not really, honestly, no, but okay.
Yeah, but I guess I kind of get the sentiment. And Taking the Bangas kind of plays with genre a bit, but they definitely borrow from R&B and hip hop. She's a really talented rapper and singer, and it's super common to have kind of skits like this in hip hop.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I wrote down that she was a little bit, or their sound is a little bit like Alabama Shakes, which we've done on the show, mixed with Silk Sonic, which we've also done on the show.
Yeah, it does have some Silk Sonic vibes. I've been thinking Chance too. A little bit it's kind of what I wish Chance was doing right now. And no Chance, hey, I love Chance and everything that he does, but it's it kind of reminds me of some older Chance, and they're both from Chicago. So.
Yeah, I picked up on that. Yeah. That I know, because when he would play with that band that was the Social Experiment, it had
Donnie Trumpet.
Yeah, I was about to say, okay, yeah, Donnie Trumpet and Social Experiment. It had that kind of sound the song.
Yeah, some of my favorite Chance stuff has that band feel to it, and lots of horns.
Yeah, dang. Well, speaking of the sound, should we maybe play a little more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Goodness.
Yeah, right. There's kind of a lot going on in that for a first verse.
Yeah, a lot. Gosh, I like the old timey disco feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say one of the things that sticks with me the most is that guitar. It kind of echoes the lyrics. Not in like, it's not like the same melody. It just kind of rhythmically answers, and it's just this like, kind of disco, 70s feeling guitar part that I just find like playing over and over again in my head.
Yeah, I like how it has those like jangly, simple kind of chords, and then it has like the washy, like sped up part. Just be like an accent, and then several strums, several chords are right there close together. And then meanwhile, the bass line is doing like a counter melody. Like it's almost like she'll sing a little bit, and the bass line will kind of take a jazz approach to that same line. But like, I'm not gonna do it verbatim, but I'll do a neat interpretation of it.
Yeah,
It's cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you said jazz too, because they have a very jazzy sound. And I think the guitar is kind of quiet in the mix for it to stand out so much.
Yeah.
And then the bass is one of the loudest instruments, and the percussion is almost Latin, and just like going pretty fast and pretty consistent.
Yeah, I always feel like that was a thing with disco, that their rhythm section always had to be worn out by the end of the song, because they almost like a lot of disco music, it seems like the instruments would go twice as fast as the lyrics, or twice as fast as even the song could go. Like the drums are doing like that clicky rim shot kind of beat that doesn't stop, and you're like, whoa, the tempo is half of that beat's tempo. You could dial it back. And same thing with the guitar, like doing those jangles and those spikes. It's like you could do something way more simple if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do love the way she comes in on top of all of that, like that foundation, like that recipe to start with, and then she comes in like riffing and really like singing with a lot of soul. I really like that.
Yeah. And I think kind of high for what I've heard from her in her vocal range. And I like that you said the instruments are so fast compared to hers too, because she's like almost in like a different time than the band. And there's so much space between each line and kind of in between the instruments. Like you can really pick out, I think, everything. There could be some stuff hidden, but yeah, it's really cool.
It is. Yeah, I think so too. I think you can kind of get a sense of everything. Like I feel like I can hear it all.
And there's backup singers.
Yeah, that's another thing that's very like disco, and in Motown too a little bit. Like a whole section of folks that just like make your singing sound better with their singing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a very impressive group.
Yeah. Cool. Well, should we move on a little more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Neat. That's a fun chorus. It's like
Yeah.
a way for everybody to kind of play around and like break with the super formal structure of a verse. And like this line kind of goes with this line, and these whole like stanza up lines tells the story, and then the chorus they kind of separate from that. And just like everybody have a good time.
Yeah. And there's, it's the title of the song, Why Try? But there's not a lot of things happening lyrically there. It does kind of contribute to the story, but like you said, in a way that like it's just fun for the band and everybody participating.
Yeah.
And I think it just says, why try, why lie? And they kind of change up the chorus here and there and keep it interesting, but that's the kind of the simplest, cleanest version of the chorus.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I wonder if it's like, I'd be interested to know how they write. Like, do they write together so that everyone can like, I got an idea, let me see if I can throw it in this section. It might sound fun, it might sound cool, or is it more like improvised? Like, this is what one instrumentalist has, and the others are like, all right, keep it going. Let me see if I can jump in. It kind of has that feel to me, and I bet, I bet it contributes to seeing them live. I bet that's really cool.
Yeah.
Probably gonna be hot. It's always hot, right? Jam.
But I hope they're in the theater.
Oh yeah.
The little theater. Yeah, like I said, Bragg Jam is like my favorite thing that we do here. And we have Cherry Blossom Festival is also kind of a big deal, but Bragg Jam is just right up my alley. And it is always hot walking around, and we just fill all of our restaurants and venues and even just outdoor stages downtown with bands. And last year it was kind of a disappointing version of Bragg Jams. It was just one afternoon, evening outside because of like COVID and everything. And then the year before that, it was completely didn't happen. So I'm very excited for a more normal Bragg Jam.
Yeah. Darn. Yeah. It's speaking of like the pandemic and not having it for a year, it makes me think about the way it used to be. Like if you had one wall to lean up against, you could put a band there. If you had like a big enough SUV, you could put a band in it, and people could stick their heads in and listen. I mean,
yeah, we watched for some reason just like the corner of a parking garage had a show in it, and that can't be good, you know, acoustically. I mean, it sounded okay.
An old auto body shop, a record store, a hot dog stand. I mean, did we have electricity? Like, no, we'll get an extension cord. I mean, like, anywhere they can put, or anywhere a band's willing to play too, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they'll do it this year.
Well, I mean, a lot of places I imagine it'll be like nothing ever happened. You know?
Yeah.
Like, hey, come on out. Well, is this a good point to like hear maybe a little bit more of it?
Yeah, we're about to get verse 2.
That's what I was thinking. Neat. I like that verse. I think I heard horns this time that I hadn't heard before.
Yeah, they kind of swell and yeah, they're definitely kind of filling out the song and jamming on it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And there's like some woodwinds, like frills and like extra stuff. Let me ask you: is a woodwind like a flute or? Yeah, it's a flute or like a clarinet. Is that a horn to you?
Clarinets are very much a horn.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But then, so, like, technically, a saxophone is
Saxophone is, yeah.
But it's a woodwind.
It is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just always thought it was weird when people referred to everyone in the band that wasn't a drum a horn. Because I was always like, well, the flutes are the least horn instrument.
Yeah, it's not a horn.
They don't have a bell. They don't have
right.
a horn shape when you think of a horn. Even clarinets have a tiny one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So that's always just been something that bugs me. But
yeah. And I associate horns with honking, like a bike horn and car horn for that matter. Mm-hmm. I guess clarinets can be a little honky.
Mm-hmm. What would you call me? Anyway, yeah, like it sounds like a flute doing that thing that a lot of flautists can do, where they just wiggle their fingers fast and it sounds like a songbird. Yeah, I know really nothing about flutes, but I never understood that. I was like, physically, doesn't the sound go from your mouth to the end? How do you make it like sound like it's going through a crazy straw? It's just so cool to me.
Aren't flutes like closed on the end? So maybe there's something to that. It's like
maybe so.
Circulating in there and kind of bouncing there. Yeah. Out of the finger holes.
Yeah, maybe that is it actually. Cool. Also, about this verse, she to me is like telling a different part of the story. It's not super linear. Because I remember the day of the week being Monday in the first verse. Yeah. And here there's a mention of Sunday. And like either we've gone through the week or like she's like, oh, I forgot to mention this thing from Sunday. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in the context of it seems like a relationship that is being kind of questioned. And, you know, I could see kind of like you said being like, oh yeah, how about Sunday though? What happened Sunday? Yeah. We get some specifics about Chicago, right? The L
Yes, I was gonna say the L train because that's when you said that they were from Chicago. I knew that, and I'd forgotten how, and then it was the mention of that.
Ah, cool. I thought it might be. Yeah, we love Chicago.
It's a special place.
Don't really associate like cruising down the freeway with Chicago, but I guess if you live there, you certainly could.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking, a song we did 2 episodes ago has a little bit of like a trip down the freeway kind of thing. You know, like, oh man, wouldn't this be nice to listen to like once or twice, not forever, like while you were driving. And I'm the same way as you. I have taken an Uber down the freeway in Chicago, and I remember thinking it was so weird. I remember being like, I didn't know there's a freeway here. I've been several times, never been right here, and it wasn't outside the city. It just kind of went between what you think of as the city, like the Loop, and the Navy Pier. There's like if I remember, like a 9, probably not, maybe like 6, but there's a massive highway there, and I remember being like, why do they need this? What is going on?
6 lanes.
Maybe 6 lanes, yeah.
Wow. I got to go to Chicago for work, but I stayed outside the city.
Oh.
Kind of, like, almost like, I would say industrial area, but that's not quite right. More like, how'd you describe that place that you worked when you were in North Carolina? That like complex and like that area.
Just like a industrial park.
Yeah.
Like a corporate office park.
It's very corporate. There were a lot of like nice hotels with like conference centers and stuff in which I was staying. And I took a few Ubers into the city and a train. So I guess I saw a good bit of freeway too, but it wasn't in Chicago.
Just outside. Yeah, I don't know, like everything that's filmed in Chicago, it's like surface streets or on the train, I feel like. I mean, remember that Chance the Rapper music video where he rides the L?
Yeah.
Is that on top of it? It's like, I just don't, but I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like a lot of big cities where outside of the city counts as the city. The people that are from there, you know?
Yeah.
So
Atlanta is so sprawling and vast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is.
If you live 10 minutes from here, you live in Atlanta. A lot of people. So yeah, you're right. Maybe that's kind of what it is, like going into the city. I don't know. Well, are we back to the chorus now?
Yeah, we are.
Cool. Neat. Kind of like what you were saying, they change up the chorus. Like they do, noticeably more with this one than before.
Yeah, you have the backup singer singing these chords, and they're just kind of going, oh, and then you have, I think, Tank kind of ad-libbing, improvising, and then they come in with the try. There's so much space in between what they're doing that she's just like really getting into it.
Yeah, I like that. I love whenever there's not a lot of lyrics for the backup singers, so they have to really make the most of it, really ham it up. And I said this before, but it's for real. When I was a little kid, I hated backup singers. I hated, especially when a backup singer sang something before the lead singer. I'm like, I don't like that. That should not be allowed. But now I just like it. It's almost like your taste buds change. I just think it's so neat. And I think when music gets away from it, to look back and be like, what do people ditch that's objectively good or something I could do in a cool way? I think that's neat also. To like borrow from something that we don't really do anymore.
Yeah. I know, it seems like it's kind of coming back to like John Mayer will have the lineup of backup singers and just like, I don't know.
Leon Bridges.
Yeah.
Or Silk Sonic, for that matter. We mentioned them already.
Yeah.
Dang, yeah.
It's cool. I noticed a lot of people playing on the retro stuff, and a lot of those things that we mentioned are pretty specific to like 70s and 80s.
Yeah. I definitely think 70s when I think of that kind of stuff, for sure.
Yeah, so Sonic is very 70s.
Cool. But yeah, the songs like picked up a bit and gotten kind of more chaotic.
Yeah,
I like
there's not as much space in all the parts of the instruments.
Yeah.
They're kind of piling up.
Yeah, piling up's a good word for it.
Thanks.
Well, I kind of want to hear what comes after this.
Yeah, we get a bridge.
Goodness, man.
Yeah,
Bridge.
that's one of my favorite parts of this whole song.
Golly.
The drums have just gone off the rails. They're just doing whatever. And it sounds good.
Sounds so good. And the guitars disappeared. Like that person's either taking a rest or like creatively don't need a guitar right here.
Yeah, maybe because, like I said, there's not as much space for them anymore.
Yeah. And I really like that there's like that, I don't know, there's a couple little like references, and then the references like meet in that one really, I mean, the big event you're talking about, the same one I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't deserve a nice change quite like that. Like, it's so smooth and it just grabs your ear, and you're like, why does music sound like this? What?
Yeah, for real. Man.
It's awesome. And those steps down are so nice and satisfying. And if you listen to it, I notice every time the drum, like, not the drum set, there's cymbals like ringing out. It's like the only thing in that little silence. It's like a little bit of a cymbal, like reverb or echo. Maybe somebody didn't grab it quick enough.
Cool.
Kind of cool, because it just like, I really think most of us don't realize it, but we're not super comfortable with utter silence in music.
Yeah.
It is weird, and I think it's kind of neat to be like, that part's silent, and you go back and listen to it, like, well, not totally, but it would be weird if it were.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's cool to pick up on something like that, just like a symbol,
I'm just so stuck on that part. I mean, the way she sings Marvin Gaye's name,
Yeah.
and like water falls down, it's like, dang.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I want to know like how many takes and dubs it took to get all these singers to hit those chords that move like that together.
Yeah, and the band too. The band's playing it all so they can all find their pitches, and yet it's nice to be like, you know, I don't know, in a big rehearsal or a big like ensemble, if you're super familiar with your part, it's like your brain just gets to where you're like also familiar with the people near you. It'd be so fun to like try that and like make eyes at the person that messed up. That you moved too soon, or you hit the wrong note or something and you threw us off.
Oh yeah.
But for us, the listener, it's like, man, that's nice. That's so tasty.
Yeah. Yeah, you've already used so many good words. It's just very satisfying. They jump right into the bridge.
Yeah.
After that, the chorus that we just heard. There's like just a kind of a sudden pause and everything, and then just like, and then there's more lyrics in this bridge and they're way faster than everything has been for both the verses or the choruses.
Yeah, it's almost like a manual transmission. Like, you had to take a millisecond to find it, and then you like clicked it in.
Yeah.
And there was no more hesitation after that.
Cool.
Dang. Well, that's, I mean, probably everybody's favorite part, if we're being honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, even the lyrics are just like, why, I know you see me calling, why you stalling, you haven't read my text all day. It's all it's very cool and common, like, thoughts put into a bridge in a really cool way.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Cool. What's next? We got some more?
A third verse.
Cool.
Man.
Goodness. Yeah. Man, 3 like really solid verses.
Yeah. And like just each more involved and interesting.
Yeah.
Like this one, the guitar, has just had that solo. Like if the guitar's back, it kind of explains why it stepped out for a few seconds there, for a chorus and a bridge.
Yeah.
Pretty simple but interesting and fun guitar solo, and then the drums are like all up on the hi-hat, in a very like Silk Sonic kind of way, and I think that's my favorite verse.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Musically, it reminds me of like 70s corny like spy music. Just for a little while, just with the weird hi-hat features and then the guitar solo, like the tone of it is really kind of intrusive. Which it's cool, but it just is a little bit like, where does grainy sounding distorted guitar come from? And then like a lot of that spy music, I feel like, maybe I'm wrong here, but it was like very disco, like it was like a subgenre of disco. That's why I say that. But yeah, I like this verse. I think I might like the second verse better, but I think this verse is super cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it like contributes much to the story per se.
No.
There's not a lot happening, you know, just kind of someone's acting shady at a bus stop maybe. But sonically, it's the most interesting and the one that I enjoy.
Yeah. True. I'll give you that. It's the most interesting.
And it's, you know, we just get like a kind of a long double chorus outro after this, so the song's been brewing for a while, and they've kind of brought everything in and had that crazy bridge, and I think it brings you back down a little bit in a nice way before it settles for the last chorus.
I think you're right. Dang. Nice.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So yeah, should we hear that chorus outro?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Hear the classic fade out. Everybody's still enjoying the song.
Yeah, no.
Turn the master down.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like, oh wait, what's that last part?
I know.
What was that?
I have like an OCD thing with every song that fades out to try and hear, like, am I missing something?
Yeah, no. Me too. In case you missed it, the kind of the last couple lines are, it repeats, I would never do that to my baby, and you kind of hear the first one, and then it goes, why try? I'm driving halfway around the town to get to you. Why lie?
Darn. Okay. I like that. Wow.
I know. I really wish we could have heard that lyric. But it definitely, and we've talked at length about like the kind of this era of music, really, really liking to use that, the fade out.
Yeah. True. Darn. Yeah, I like that outro. I like that they just like really hammer the hook and like really repeat that part, or the title, the hook, both, and then I don't know, and then just kind of have the song live on in its own world, you know, like a movie where the ending's ambiguous, and you're like, I have to do your job too. I don't think I'm an audience member now. I have to like tell myself how the movie ends. I don't mind as much in that with the song. I don't know why. Maybe I just feel like songs are easier to make or cheaper, shorter, all the above than movies. I don't know.
Interesting.
I guess you can listen to a song for free, but you can't really like watch a movie for free. You're not supposed to. Yeah.
That's a good point.
I don't know, but yeah, a fun song. I hadn't picked up on the lyrics about I've been driving halfway around the city to get to you until you pointed them out. So now that kind of like I'm very fixated on that idea. I'm trying to make it in my mind.
Yeah, and kind of, you know, could explain the freeway, although it seemed like they were together in that reference of the freeway, riding around on the freeway together.
Yeah.
You know, maybe going back from each other's places or something.
Darn. Well, you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. Try to say it a different way, just so it's not like we don't know if we should go first. I think, even though the song is really fun to listen to, I mean, we've tied it to a couple of bands that I think, at least for me, I mean, it's a compliment when I say that it sounds like this. And most times I'll do that, I'm used as a compliment, but I could also, I think, without much of a guilty conscience, throw in Snarky Puppy and Lake Street Dive.
Ooh, yeah.
Just like something, like some people that grew up loving music and listening to retro music, like older music, and then when they go to play, they're like, well, the thing that's going to come out of me naturally is not the same formulaic, made on a computer, like, pop that's out there. It's going to be stuff like what I'm inspired by. I love that. And again, I mean that as a compliment to say that, you know, Tank and the Bangas sound like whatever, fill in here.
Yeah.
I think since we said disco so much and how like kind of grooving and shuffling it is, it's a little bit like you can kind of get swept up in that and get kind of caught up or like slide off of the lyrics because the song itself, like the music is so fun.
Yeah.
But I kind of imagine the lyrics and the story and the vocal performance as being like the blues. Kind of like an open mic night where someone goes to like a community or like a small club of people, the predictable audience where they feel safe, and they want to tell the audience about like their boy problems or like their relationship struggles.
Yeah.
And rather than making like a sad poem about it, it just happened to come out in a really cool song. And I kind of think lyrically it's not very aggressive. It's a little bit maybe confrontational, but I kind of think, again, with the blues, it's more like for the audience than really for the other character.
Yeah.
Something about the tone of it and like the way, I don't know, the way it's all like using these references, and it doesn't seem to be really building a very strong case. Just like a couple little things. I don't know why I can't get that in my head. Just like the idea of saying to people that you know and people that you feel comfortable with, like let me tell you what's kind of been going on with me.
Yeah.
And almost a layer of like, and I don't want to tell you every detail because it's an intimate thing. I want to keep it just enough for you to get the gist of it and be able to feel like you know where I'm coming from. So I think even though the guitar is fun, the bass line is really impressive, I think overall it's more of like a sad song, kind of a lament to what could have worked or what was working and quit working. So
Yeah.
I think I would have to say it's like a farewell song or kind of like a funeral song, in an up-tempo blues. And because of all that, I would say love song.
Cool.
Thank you.
Dang, I like that. I think specifically because of all of the instruments and how upbeat it is, and in certain parts chaotic, and although I do agree that it's kind of a lament and like almost like a vent session about like a relationship that isn't going or didn't go as planned, or as the narrator wanted. I think there's enough tension in it, in the music and in like her suspicions of the partner, the other character in the song. I think there's enough anger in it, even though it might not be to that person, like you said. I think that they're angry enough about it not going their way that it is a fight song for me.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't see why not. I think it's a perfectly valid reading of it.
Thanks. Yeah, I like yours too.
Cool. Wow, so we're split on this one.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. Nice.
Cool.
Dang. Well, y'all let us know what you think. Hopefully, like Cam said, you've seen the Tiny Desk set, but if not, we're glad that we could introduce you to Tank and the Bangas. It's going to be cool to see them at Bragg Jam, and we're excited. I mean, this is like a good group.
Yeah, for real.
Because you never know. We're not involved in booking anybody to come play a Bragg Jam or otherwise, so you just always like, oh, I hope it's somebody good. I hope it's cool. I hope it's enjoyable.
Yeah, which by the way, we would love to be at Bragg Jam. Holler at us.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But yeah, there's only two of us. It says 50-50, so we need a tiebreaker. So
yeah, that's right.
Just one person. Let us know.
True, yeah. You're right. It would only take one. That's a good point. But regardless, we appreciate y'all for listening.
Yeah, seriously, thanks so much.
Cam, thank you, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for, doing this song with me. And hope we can see them at Bragg Jam together.
That'd be nice.
And we'll talk to y'all again next week.